the Philly boys. How much talent is on this team?
Prophet setting it up. He's hitting everything.
The Spitfire hold strong. That's a big resounding fight win for London. Huge turnaround. Huge. The Philadelphia Fusion. This is so huge. Oh, I get excited about that stuff, man. Hold me.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are back and better than ever. Make some noise, Los Angeles. We have an awesome crowd in the venue today, and we have some insane matches coming your way on Saturday. Welcome back, everybody. It's Puckett. I got the whole crew. We got Sideshow, Reinforce, and Zoe, the #1 yodeler in all of Switzerland, back in action.
Yes.
That's
All
true,
of that.
that's a fact.
Facts.
Can you sample some for us?
Not quite. Yeah.
Your voice is a bit tight,
Yeah,
right?
you know, I gotta
Bit
warm
tight,
up
bit
first.
We got some good games. We're going to be making a lot of noise today. Let's take a look here at our current standings. Of course, in the regular season, it's all about your 40 matches you're going to play. After 13, New York is on top of the list.
Yes, and New York have got a tough challenge today. In fact, the entirety of our games today feature some of the best teams in the entire league, and particularly in Stage 2.
Absolutely, and Johnny, when you look at this list, there's some surprises if you're watching Stage 1, and some new faces breaking out. The Fusion, sitting there at 3-0.
Yeah, both the Fusion and Seoul Dynasty, who didn't make the Stage 1 playoffs, but now they're the #1 on the leaderboard. Can they make the Stage 2 playoffs? That is the question.
Here's a look at what we're seeing today. Like we mentioned at the top, it is back-to-back awesome matches. We got Philly going up against the Spitfire. We got Outlaws versus New York, and we're going to close it out with a very tight matchup between the Dragons and the Shock. Are you guys ready to get this day started? Let's make some noise and welcome our first team of the day to the stage. It's the Philadelphia Fusion. This squad is making more fans every single time they take the stage. The biggest surprise of Stage 2, Philly off to a red-hot, stellar start. 3 straight wins and a very exciting most recent victory. It was the reverse sweep over Houston.
Yes, a big reverse sweep. They looked pretty decent in the first half, but then in the second half...
They got trashed in the first
They
half,
got trashed, but then in the second half, they turned it back on, and they managed to get the 3-map wins in a row to actually win the series. Amazing performance. Are they the team to beat?
I think they are. I think Philadelphia Fusion at the moment, when they're playing their best, like we saw in the second half of that game on Thursday, they are unbeatable. These guys are fantastic. They have so much raw skill on this team, and this meta suits them perfectly. Carpe and Shadowburn were going wild.
They really were. And you know what? It was Snillo's birthday yesterday, so he will be eligible to play
Happy
moving
birthday.
forward. Yeah, happy birthday. And that means we could potentially even see him today. And you know, their DPS department has been so freaking strong. And with Snillo, they add even more firepower to it. That's pretty darn insane.
It really
Snillo
is.
from the former 1-2-3 squad that you may have seen back at Contenders. Today, though, in the starting lineup, it's Shadowburn and Carpe going back to the old school duo. It's time now, though, to find out who is going to be in the starting lineup for the London Spitfire. Please give it up for our squad representing the UK. Spitfire took home the $100,000 bonus and the title of Stage 1 champions. And since then, they've beaten Florida, they've taken out New York, but they fell in a Game 5 to the Outlaws.
Yes, they've had 2 games so far in Stage 2 that went to map 5s. One they won, one they didn't, and then they were able to beat Florida. This team looks shakier than they did towards the end of Stage 1, but they still have so much raw talent spread across their entire roster, and they're fielding almost a totally different team today.
And Johnny, yeah, we got some new faces back in the mixed bird rings on the stage.
Yeah, it makes you wonder, do they have anything planned in specific for Philadelphia Fusion? We talked about Philadelphia being the team to beat, so maybe Bishop, the coach of the London Spitfire, is bringing some nice strategies into play here.
Yeah, I actually got to talk to Bishop about who are they fielding today and also who they felt last time we saw them. And he said that despite not having 12 players anymore, they kind of felt like they needed to split the team into 2 for this week, as only one of the maps they actually played overlap. So that means that all the players had to practice 7 different maps, and that's quite a lot. They were scared of map fatigue, and that's why they decided to kind of split the whole roster into 2 in practice.
I love that man who just gave a salute to the camera. Bedosian is the trash talker for this team. If you've been watching Watchpoint, this guy is not afraid to let his opponents know how confident this Spitfire squad is. That is a look at the starting 6, but let's talk about the matchup. You got a 3-0 Philadelphia, you got a 2-1 London Spitfire here in Stage 2. And Philly, they should have been 2-1 if it wasn't for that reverse sweep. So let's talk about how they were able to turn that match around against Houston. What does London have to be worried about today?
Well, you have to be worried about the fast gameplay that Philadelphia Fusion brings to the table, because when they really get going and running, of course, I mean, they play Overwatch so fast, so the opponents can't really adapt in time. They can't really nail down their positioning and take the fights they want. So Philadelphia Fusion, with the individual skill they have, they can dictate the fights and take the fights they want without the opponents really having anything to say about it.
Yes, and Philadelphia, we saw as they moved towards the latter 3 maps of that game against Outlaws, they started focusing on killing Jake on Tracer much more, and then they were also putting way more damage onto the main tank. So Jester and Prophet both have to watch out, because Carpe and Shadowburn are going to be hunting for them both.
Now, you mentioned on the walkout today, you feel like this is the time for Philadelphia to prove they're a top team. What are you looking for today? What test are they up against?
Yes, this is the test actually for me to see whether Philadelphia Fusion are for real, because now they're coming up against a real juggernaut. Yes, they've taken down some good teams so far. They had a good showing in the latter portion of their game against the Outlaws, but if they can take down London, they are the team to beat in Stage 2. There will be no argument otherwise. But there's a very good chance that with London, with this brand new roster, how can Philadelphia prepare against it?
Well,
this is the game for them.
Yeah, sure, it is the game for them, but they look so good. The one thing about Philadelphia Fusion that I like is that they take their game and they don't let anyone affect it. You know, they are not the ones adapting, it's the enemy team. So Philadelphia Fusion, they can stick to their game plan and just do what they do best and rely on that specifically without having to worry about counter-stratting or, you know, fielding another player, perhaps from the bench, of course. So Philadelphia Fusion, based on the fact that they're so confident in their game plan, I think that just proves how good they really are.
And Zoe, for me, it's all about the DPS in this matchup. We know what we're going to get from the Spitfire with Prophet. What are you expecting from the other end? Who do you want to see pop off today?
Oh, you know what? I'm super excited to see Shadowburn again. Not just because he's a fantastic DPS on Genji, or what we usually use from him. In the last game, he played Sombra as well as Widowmaker, and he played them on such a high level. It was just the way he played the Sombra which really impressed me. He's such a passive Genji, so patient with that ultimate, and he somehow managed to implement that style into Sombra, which is just, that blew my mind. I loved it.
I love watching Shadowburn. A lot of people saw EQO and they're like, oh, Shadowburn's never going to get played again. He comes back, he tears it up, earns player of the match honors, but we have to keep our eyes on the Tracers in this first matchup. Carpe has been known as one of the deadliest Tracers of all time. He's going up against Prophet. How do these two match up?
Yes, Carpe is absolutely fantastic, but Prophet has been one of the best tracers in the world for God knows how long. And Prophet has been very much with his team, whereas Carpe, I think, is a little more individual. But you can see in terms of the numbers they're stacking up, the elimination to death percentage on both of these guys is phenomenal. But Carpe really came into his own towards the latter half of their game. They need to activate him really early on, I think, to get the most out of him.
Well, it's also worth mentioning that when Philadelphia beat Houston, Neptuno on the Lucio, he started shutting down Jake on the Tracer. So that begs the question, can Neptuno on Philadelphia Fusion bring down Prophet today? That is going to be an entirely different challenge.
I definitely think he can. He is a battle Lucio through and through. Keep your eyes on Neptuno from the Fusion. This is going to be a great matchup, and I know we're torn here at the desk, so let's make it official with some pretty graphics, starting with you, Sideshow. Where are you leaning today? Which Orange squad comes out with the W?
I think London have looked so good, right? They were the Stage 1 champions. They have a really deep roster. It's difficult to bet against them, but I'm going all the way with Philadelphia Fusion this time.
There's at least one Philly fan here.
Yeah. Philadelphia Fusion just looks so good. When they're playing their game, they're unbeatable, and I hope they're going to play their game today.
You're going with the Fusion. A 4-0 start, Sideshow is calling. What about you, Johnny?
You know, Philadelphia is my team. I predicted that those guys would be the wild card in Stage 2, and actually I predicted them as #1 in my power rankings going into this week. But I'm going with London. I'm sorry, Philadelphia.
Wow.
I have to go with the Spitfire.
What is
Johnny,
Yeah.
backstage, you told us Philly is the best team in the world.
Yes, they are the best team in the world, but London have something planned. Birdring, Fury, and Nuss, I'm looking out for those guys.
Okay, contradicting yourself, but you're going to look good in either case. Let's go to you, Zoe.
Yeah, good job at pulling a Swiss card here, even though you're being Swedish. But yeah, put that aside. I have to go with the Fusion. They've looked so dominant, and even though it's obvious what they're doing, they're just so good at it that it doesn't matter that the opponents are prepared for it, because it's just such a force. And I do not think that London can stop it.
What a change this is from Stage 1. If you watched the action back then, everyone would have been London. Today, 2 of our analysts are going with the Fusion. I gotta hear, Uber, Mr. X, what do you guys make of this?
Yeah, I mean, we're going to be part of this segment. I would say at this stage, London, despite having dropped the map earlier this week, it's pretty hard to not expect them to still to be incredibly powerful here.
I love Johnny saying that Philly is the best team in the world and picking against them, which I don't know how that works.
It's a classic Johnny move.
Well, if you remember back to when these two teams met up in stage 1, they actually didn't play Neptuno in that match. Remember, Philadelphia, they beat Houston early in stage 1 and then a 3-2 match, a lot like how they did here. And then they ended up playing, I believe it was Dayfly over Neptuno for that entire match. They said that at that time they thought he was the better Mercy, but now we know how important Neptuno is to this team, right? Now how good he is on the Lucio and other supports. I think it's huge that he's in the lineup here today for Philadelphia.
Well, Matt, there's more orange out there than your last trip to the tanning salon, but we got ourselves a big match, ladies and gentlemen. It is going to be spicy. Well, it's not that long, let's be honest.
It has.
Cherry Blossoms up, and now we head into Hanamura again, our first map of this series. It is going to be an assault map, of course, and we've seen some interesting things from multiple teams so far in this particular map, especially centered around that second point. This first point often doesn't stand for too long.
Yeah, on the defense, you're going to look to see, maybe a Soldier 76, whether it be, Bird Ring, or it's interesting who plays it for the Philadelphia Fusion. We saw Shadowburn play a little bit of 76. We saw him play some Widowmaker the other day, so opening up his hero pool a little bit more. So we'll get a chance to see who here starts on defense. It'll look like it'll be the London Spitfire. So Bird Ring will play the 76 for this team. You'll kind of put him in the back by point A. You'll play around him, try and bait that dive in. But just like Johnny said, Philadelphia, you kind of know what they're going to do as a team. Like London, there's not like a ton you game plan against for Philadelphia. You know what they're going to do. Just can you stop it?
So it's more on a fundamental or mechanical level.
Yeah, I mean, Philly just wants to make this a game of mechanical skill, right? They just want to force those gunfights because they believe that, Carpe and Shadowburn, those 1v1s, can win versus just about anybody, which, they definitely can.
So Prophet there with 2.0 KD or higher, one of the two players. Now, Echo's obviously only played that one series, so that's huge. That's very, very big here for Prophet. Of course, having played a lot of games to have such good stats after all this time. So the London Spitfire, generally, for those at home wondering, the home team, the one sort of wearing their main colours, defend first in the first map. That's a really good way of telling. But let's jump in now. It's time to fire this up. The Philadelphia Fusion are attacking in the whites. The Spitfire defending in the aqua.
Neptuno throws that Sonic Arrow out because a lot of teams on the defense are playing really close by the Mega Health Pack, jumping teams from behind. So they want to make sure when they move up with Carpe on the Widowmaker, they don't just get jumped in the back. It's going to be a little bit of a slower push in from the Philadelphia Fusion. They're going to go towards that top left side. I know Fraggy just goes in a little bit too deep. Poco not there to follow him up right away.
Right, so Poco thinks better about sort of staying any longer inside. The rest of the Fusion is still rallying themselves by the gate and want to make a play. Carpe was hoping for a higher angle there just to get a little bit of a peek over the woodwork and find a target. Now he has to do it the old-fashioned way while he waits for the cooldown on the hook. That's about there. Birdring's keeping himself very scarce, though. He knows that Carpe's on the hunt.
And we've seen this in the past, that it'll be Boombox falling here for the Philadelphia Fusion, but Birdring's positioning on maps like this with the Soldier 76 are top-notch. We've seen him do it, I know, on Numbani in the past, right? Just play in that high ground area, just loop from side to side, makes himself very difficult to hit, but they're actually able to find Prophet being a little bit aggressive at that main gate. They still don't have Boombox back in yet.
Oh, Carpe has to be so careful, man. Getting chased down there. I think Gesture saw that it was kind of low on HP and just chased him up there. Knew we could put some pressure on. Fury also following. So the Spitfire are actually making forays outside of this first area just to chase down these low health targets. So they're not afraid to push into Philadelphia as part of the map.
It also buys them some time. They knew that Boombox wasn't back yet in the fight, and then it buys them some time for Prophet to come back off of respawn. So they use that Primal Rage. There's a nice Biotic Grenade coming in from Nuss as well. Connects with 3 players there.
And that was the follow-up there. Winston follows up so well on Biotic Grenades. That one was eaten though. Prophet isn't able to connect, but it looks like the fight has begun. The Spitfire want to go in, but the Fusion respond with a sound barrier of their own. Now they're peeling back to the point. Transcendence even being used by the Fusion. They really want this, Matt, but the timing on those support ults really didn't favor them.
Yeah, they used both at the same exact time. Now the
here's trouble.
Transcendence will be here for the London Spitfire. They're going to use it just to keep Gesture up as he's pushing both supports back.
You can see Bedosin also wants a bit of the action. He found Boombox as he popped out of that Transcendence. You see that Gesture just waited a little bit until the trans was there, but moving off the point has actually cost them a tick. Carpe, they're causing problems. Can't quite finish off on the second tick, but London are being pushed and pulled around right now. Forced to respond, and Shadowburn finds his Dragonblade kill on the point. Fury, though, at least managing to take down the Genji. There won't be any more action on the point for now, and Philly must regroup, but it's been a slow start.
Well, Philly will have both supports here. They'll have Poco and Carpe. It's just nothing coming off of the spawn. They're going to have, obviously, that's closer spawn, a little bit of an advantage here if you trade kills. It'll be a pulse from Carpe, goes up against the wall. Fury drops that self-destruct just to buy them some time by the point.
Prophet looking a little bit worse for wear there, but Carpe opts not to chase him up. That's going to be dangerous though. You can see Gesture now. It takes down Boombox as it forces him off the map. He's looking for an extra target now as well. And you can see the Fraggies had to back away, and now the Fusion is spread very thinly across this first point. Birdring trying to take advantage of this now, knowing they have to cross on open field to try and get back to safety. It's easy frags. Nuts following up there, the finisher on Poco with a body grenade just for style, and now we're under a minute.
Yeah, they know Fraggy is behind. He actually popped Primal Rage, so he's all the way back by the Mega Health Pack going over towards point B. Wonder if Fraggy's just going to try and maybe, spawn kill, whether it's Bedosian or not, or it looks like he's going to jump in, try and put some damage on Birdring as everybody comes through the game.
Birdring stayed so safe so far in this map, Matt. Only dying once. It's been very, very good for him. Now he's going to set up on the point, needs to wait for that Transcendence to be done, but Neptuno in the meantime has found Gesture elsewhere. Picks him off. Boombox again falling in this fight. He's fallen early so many times in these engagements, and now Birdring there as well, getting himself a little bit of that extra healing, and Shadowburn's forced to back away. He doesn't have reflect left. He might just have to go over the edge. No, he won't have an option. The Helix Rocket makes his decision for him, and now we're going to be in under 10 seconds, and the Fusion are going to be struggling to even get to the point.
They're going to wait. They're going to have both of their supports, Fraggy and Carpe. Carpe is probably going to be the one that has to get in touch here. If anything,
he's dead!
Oh, he barely makes it.
That's rough. He doesn't even get there. He does trigger overtime, perhaps. Perhaps it's just his corpse hitting the ground. It seems to have done the job. But now the Fusion have to do something with this. Shadowburn's close to a Dragon Blade here with the tactical visors pressuring him down, and Birdring again giving him no choice. Killing him for the second time in a row. And despite Boombox actually getting something done, Carpe forcing just to recall onto the point now. He's so low. There's no chance for the Fusion. It's a slow start once again for Philadelphia. And the Spitfire just looked watertight.
Yeah, for me, it was just Prophet able to get into the backline, being able to take out Boombox and Neptuno time after time. And we saw what trouble Neptuno gave Jake the other day, on his Tracer trying to go back. They would get the supports of Philadelphia. That time, though, Prophet was dominant. I thought Gesture was very good as well, using those Primal Rages, always finding the supports, a little bit lagging behind the rest of the team, able to take them out.
We have a bit of a replay. This was from Prophet. You can see that Boombox getting punished pretty hard on this particular map. The only player on Philadelphia, unsurprisingly, to sort of die more was Frankie. So between the two of them, there's 9 deaths there. Very, very difficult, considering that the Philadelphia Fusion only managed 7 final blows across the entire team. So very, very hard to try and dig the Spitfire off that first point.
Yeah, and I think Fraggy, he's diving in, right? Because that's what the Philadelphia Fusion want to do. They want to be aggressive. They want to dive. The issue is that they don't have their supports there, and then Gesture and Prophet are getting onto their supports. So what has to happen? It's probably Poco's responsibility to get back to those supports.
Sure
so then
enough.
Fraggy doesn't have his Diva there. He's just going in on his own. The Winston bubble only lasts for so long. Just so much damage coming down on him. He's not able to live.
And out of Spitfire. This may be a very quick map, and look, the Fusion were pretty slow to start prior. Obviously on Thursday in their match against the Outlaws, it had to be a reverse sweep to get them back in the match. So perhaps that early series map pool's not favoring them heavily. But again, this map's so hard for attackers, Matt, because to try and get from the gateway there, you can see near where Poco's standing to the point, you often have to either leave your supports at the door, or you have to bring them with you onto the point, which makes them incredibly vulnerable to defensive traces. We haven't really seen teams be able to sort of deal with that outside of just smashing the defenders before they have a chance to respond.
Which if you try and bring your supports in, then you end up getting in an awkward spot, right? Where you're just kind of like split in the middle of the gate, just kind of standing there trying to get forward and then trying to help the supports, where everybody's just out in the open then.
Yeah, and you can see this here, Gesture had an incredibly good defense. Unkillable, and also doing so much damage here. Now look at the London, they're wasting no time. They're bringing Birdring along here, interestingly enough, on the McCree.
Yeah, Nuss will play Mercy here, so you'll be able to pocket Birdring up, and then also you'll be able to just pocket Bedosian, keep him alive a little bit longer as you try and push through the choke, and they're able to get Boombox early yet again.
Yeah, maybe not the safest positioning for Boombox. Maybe the Fusion wanted to fight, but Birdring's going to take that option away from them. Carpe pressuring, but Fraggy's low, and also Carpe had to force his recall to even get out alive, and there's no way that the Fusion are going to win out in this battle. It is a bit of trading back and forth, but as it stands, it's just Prophet on the point. Carpe cleverly managing to get out of the way, but guess who was waiting for him? It was Gesture. Easy pickup, and that is going to be the map. There's no way you come back from this one, and the Spitfire start on fire.
A really fast map #1 win for London. The offense, it was fairly easy. They tried to push through that right side. They had Nuss on Mercy, helping Birdring with that damage boost. You're able to take out Boombox, Shadowburn right away. and everything falls apart for Philadelphia after that.
Now the Spitfire have had their fair share of 5-match series so far in stage 2. They'd like to avoid that here. And with the way the Fusion started, it might be a possibility here. They're going to have to fire up. One of these things, Matt, is not like the other. And there's no doubt in that London are looking sharp to start things off. We'll be back after the break with map number 2.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by Intel, the official computer processor of the Overwatch League. T-Mobile, America's best unlimited network. And by Omen by HP, the official PC and display of the Overwatch League.
Today on Access Granted, brought to you by Toyota, I'm picking up Fraggy from the Philadelphia Fusion for their match against the Houston Outlaws.
What's going on, bud? How you doing?
How you doing?
Good.
We're going to chat about what it's like to play main tank in the Overwatch League and play with such incredible players like Shadowburn and Carpe, and also face incredible teams like the Houston Outlaws.
Of course, we play for Philly, so all the Philly fans are like really into it. Maybe some bad words when we lose, but that's natural, I guess.
It's Philly fan.
Yeah.
And there you go, another preview of another spicy Access Granted episode. Matt, you've been doing a lot of driving around, not just me to work in the morning. They get to pick up players as well.
Yeah, it was fun to talk to Fraggy, just about the challenges of playing main tank in Overwatch League, and what it's like to see Zappas coming in, right? Him and Fraggy have such a long,
the bros
teaming together. Seeing him now for Florida, so that was really fun.
Well, a great point. I mean, Fraggy started his Overwatch career at the first European LAN tournament way back, 2016 now, if it is early 2016. I don't know. It feels like a long time ago with all the Overwatch we've done since then. But it was called The Takeover. It was in Krefeld in Germany. It was a lot of fun, and he rocked up with a team of players that essentially came from World of Warcraft guild called Paragon, right? Which is obviously, people should know what Paragon is. This is one of the top guilds in the world. And they sort of all transitioned over, and they didn't have a great first tournament, but that was sort of the start of the Finnish, dynasty that sort of started to develop, and guys like Linkser have come through that dynasty as well. Zappos, as you mentioned. So it's good to see Fraggy out here. Good European representation on the Philadelphia Fusion as well. Great to see those guys get involved and do so well, but let's see now if they can bring things back on the board.
Yeah, coming into Nepal, there'll be no subs for either team, so both teams staying with the same exact lineups as we come into map number 2. Interested to see, if Philly decides to change some things up a little bit. The only thing that, when Shadowburn's in the lineup as opposed to EQO, you kind of look at EQO. I thought his 76 was very good. Maybe we see Shadowburn play some more 76, but it seems like when he's in the lineup, they really want to stick to that Genji Tracer combination. Maybe we did see, him play a little bit of Pharah here on Nepal the other day against Houston. It was very effective.
And to be honest, disgruntled Philadelphia fans already, maybe. They don't really have it on to point fingers at, because honestly, all over the board, Philadelphia got shut down in that first map. Like, we've got the stats, and I'll be honest with you, no one was able to do a whole lot. It's a cohesion issue, and they've really got to get that confidence up and take it to the Spitfire if they want to, keep this series even, Stevens. I mean, Fury didn't die for the entire map.
Yeah,
so both attack and defense.
I can tell you're new to the States as you're trying to lower the expectations of Philadelphia fans.
No, I'm just saying, like, there's no one to point fingers at, so just maybe don't do it.
Philadelphia fans, it's just a natural way to go about things. As,
I hope to hang out with them one day when we go on the road, man.
Yeah, Boombox will be playing Moira here for the Fusion, so you get a ton of healing with Moira. Obviously, does some added damage. And you'll have Birdring play Widowmaker here. Interesting. Maybe they thought there was going to be the Pharah on the other side for Philadelphia Fusion, but see if Birdring can stay alive long enough on this Widowmaker with all the dive heroes on the side of Philadelphia Fusion coming at him eventually.
You can see the Philly Fusion, the masters of the map 5, so they've played a lot of control. Let's hope that's going to make a difference here. Birdring is set upon by Fraggy, but is able to get away there with that grappling hook, and I think it looks like the Spitfire want to contest this up close, but the Widow's so close.
Well, with Fraggy using his jump to get to Birdring, and then Birdring just getting away, Fraggy doesn't have a jump to get back to the point, so they have a slight advantage for the time being on the point, but it's Neptuno as the Battle Lucio coming on through, taking out Birdring, but they do get a D-Mech on the Poco, which is big.
Honestly, the numbers are good for the Fusion on the point right now. Furicon has to challenge out on his own. Hasn't taken much damage there and is benefiting from a lot of healing. But Doshin again. Poco falls. They've lost the Diva now, the Philadelphia Fusion. The Fraggies is right behind, missing all of their tanks. And now you can see the Shadowburns is heading for the hills. This fight is pretty much over. How methodical was that? One by one, Philadelphia get dismantled.
Fraggy using the jump to go into Birdring, it doesn't result in the point flipping to London right away. But
is that a mistake there, though?
I mean, he's just trying to close the gap. It seemed like they were going to have Poco just stay on the point. The issue is that, they don't get the point out of that necessarily, but they do get a D-Mech on the Poco, and then they just kind of restabilize a little bit, and then they're able to set up off of that pick to push into the point.
Poco's getting chucked down very hard right now, and the Coalescence being drawn out of... then layering the support ultimates back again. Sound Barrier Coalescence coming out at the same time, and Bedosian responds here with the Transcendence in on the point. There's still a Sound Barrier available for Nas if it might be required, but once again, 2 support ults have been committed to a fight on 2 maps in a row, and the Fusion haven't done anything with them.
Yeah, it's tough for the Philadelphia Fusion. Boombox will switch to Zenyatta here. It feels like they need the Discords for a little bit more damage. Shadowburn will have his Blade. We'll see how long he holds on to this. You do know that there's a sound barrier on the opposing side here. You have to know, right? If you haven't seen us use anything thus far. Looks like Prophet trying to get into that back line again. Cause some problems. Gesture with the Primal Rage could knock them out at the choke. There's a sound barrier, so now we can see Shadowburn use this blade with no support ult on the other side.
Despite that, Birdring's actually gone down here, and now the sound barrier's expired, so here's a big opening for the Fusion to make something happen. Fraggy dives onto the point there in the Primal Rage, and Poco also looking about half HP. Prophet's now been discovered. We'll need to back away, but he's really championed the bit here. He doesn't want to leave them with any space to breathe, and Shadowburn now for the Dragon Blade. Fraggy's just stealing all the kills. It's in his name. And now Fury should be beaten down here. He's going to be ganged up upon by most of the Philadelphia Fusion. Despite that, still gets a decent on Poco as a parting gift. And Poco opts to jump off the edge just to get his mech back quicker.
They do still get to 99% of the London Spitfire, so it's just one fight they need to go in their favor. And they'll have Transcendence plus Dragon Blade for the next one. So a pretty good combination of ultimates. Neptuna will have that sound barrier, but it's going to be very difficult to try and connect that on everybody as soon as Birdring starts to dive in with that Transcendence healing.
Prophet with the pulse bomb. Birdring with the Dragon Blade. Offensive ultimates are online for the London Spitfire. All they need to do is retake the point once, but they've already lost Bidoshin there. Charge down, and a Shuriken aimed right at his noggin will remove him. Matt's being out of the picture as well. Yeah, this fight is pretty much done. Prophet would like to pick up Fraggy, but it won't go too deep to get that extra damage.
Yeah, the supports for the London Spitfire were stuck at that main gate. Fraggy and Shadowburn recognized it right away, jumped right on top of it. You know, that Poco was able to just peel back for his supports, keep them alive long enough. It's big because now you have both support ultimates on the line here for Philadelphia, so Birdring won't be able to just get a bunch of free kills with that Dragon Blade. Maybe Prophet with this Pulse Bomb can force one of the support ults out early.
Prophet there as well, using a very, very handy flank angle that only sort of Tracer and other gap-clearing heroes can utilize, and he's put himself on the point. There has to be a response there. Remember, it's 99 to 69. Must be done here. Birdring found Poco early with the Dragon Blade, but is taken down. The Pulse Bomb to no avail. Carpe was hoping to help with the extra damage. That's a good Pulse Bomb, though. Fraggy blown to smithereens. And Prophet and Birdring continuing to wreak havoc right now. Of course, Gesture's getting involved, and that should be it now. They're going to pressure forward. Prophet goes for the recall just to get himself back on the point. That'll be it. The London Spitfire looking very strong. There was resistance from the Fusion in that round, but it just seemed like they struggled, Matt, to gain a foothold and keep it.
Yeah, and it's a big Pulse Bomb from Prophet because Fraggy is getting close to Primal Rage, but he's also just about to jump in to help his supports because Gesture is putting a ton of pressure on him. As soon as he blows up that Pulse Bomb, that allows Prophet to dive into that backline with him as well. It's a big play with that Pulse Bomb.
Gesture's having an incredible match so far. Prophet also not dying on that map, despite Philadelphia actually getting to 80%, so does a good job keeping alive with this man here as well. Just very, very impressive from him. A good portion of his team's damage as well. We often see D.Va with like the most damage on the team, or at least between the two tanks. Gesture has more damage than Fury right now.
I do feel like in a way your Winston player, your main tank stats are also kind of tied to your off tank stats in a way, right? Like if both of them are together and the team is playing well, their stats are always going to look pretty good, right? I mean, when you look on the other side, Fraggy, putting together a pretty decent game. Poco, 3-3 in terms of eliminations and deaths right now. So they're both tied at the hip, right? So Sushi, Shadowburn get a pick on a Bidoshin here early. We'll see if that results in the point for Philadelphia, but be Fraggy who goes down yet again early.
Now Prophet there gets cornered. Carpe definitely with the eye of the tiger there. A little bit more lethality to the Philadelphia Fusion early on in this round. Their DPS players found their marks, but Shadowburn, he just gets out alive. Gesture was pressuring him with that Tesla rifle, but still managed to escape. Nicely done, Nuss there as well. Never turn your back on an angry Lucio player, ladies and gentlemen. Both these teams feature bloodthirsty supports by the dozen, by the four, really. It's all the same, though. As Philadelphia started in control, but they'll lose the point here.
Yeah, this will be London Spitfire taking the point back. Fraggy will probably be able to get on this for a slight touch. He's actually just going to jump to the opposite side of the point, try and get away with the rest of his teammates. And just kind of looking at it from afar, right? You're like, oh man, Gesture jumps all the way to that left-hand side. He's going to put pressure on the supports. Like, where is his D.Va? None of his support players over there. How is he able to stay alive? Fantastic use of that Mega Health Pack, able to get the Mega, then jump back out. It almost takes out Shadowburn in the process. Just a really nice job using those health packs to stay alive. And he's going to dive into the backline here with Prophet. Uses that Primal to force out Transcendence.
That's huge. If you're a team using a Transcendence off the point or defensively like that, that's bad for you. The Spitfire there will be very, very glad they managed to force that ultimate out. Neptuno has a sound barrier here, but it might take more than that to get the point under control. Here it is, though. Bidoshin goes for the Transcendence just as Neptuno gives the Fusion their sound barrier. But you can see the Spitfire just step back, wait for it to expire, disengage slightly. And now the Fusion have no support ultimates to fight with. It's going to be a big Dragon Blade, and even that's going to be tough.
Yeah, it'll be the sound barrier used by London just to stay alive with the point. Now this will be the blade from Shadowburn. He gets moved back a little bit.
Look at it, can't do anything.
No, not able to get anything. It'll be Prophet's Dragon Blade that cuts him down.
Nuss shuts him down in a big way, and then Prophet just adds to his tally. Poco's mech getting taken down in the ruckus. And it's frustrating. With Lucio back in the mech, it's a tough life for Winstons. It's a tough life for Genjis. If you expend your free dash with your Dragon Blade and get booped back out of position, all you can try to do is sort of walk at the enemy and swing the blade and hope to catch them. Shadowburn completely neutralized there by Nasus Lucio.
It's just patience from the Lucio, right? When that first dash comes through from Shadowburn, you don't want to use that boot to knock him away because he's going to get that dash reset once he pulls the blade out. So Shadowburn pulls his blade out, goes with the dash, then gets boot back. It's very difficult to get any value from the Dragon Blade after that. It'll be Boombox with the Transcendence. They jump onto him right away.
Again, forcing the Transcendence out of Boombox. Philadelphia must take control now, and Shadowburn started well. Looks like he doesn't need a Dragon Blade to get those kills. With Birdring falling, he's found 3 in the fight, and that will allow the Fusion to regain some composure and control. Neptuno close to a sound barrier to hope to stave off the aggressive Spitfire as they try and retake to finish the map.
And Shadowburn's had a very good map here. On Nepal, it just obviously hasn't resulted in a point win thus far, but Philadelphia, 43% and counting. He's almost up to another Dragon Blade. See the progress. Him and Prophet pretty much pop their blades at the same time. You can see the progress Shadowburn's made since then. Prophet does get weak. He's gonna have to back out a little bit, gets the healing, and they're gonna get right on Mendoza. This time it's Fraggy forcing out the Transcendence from the London Spitfires, and
That's a big play now. The Sound Barrier can come in after the fact, lay those ultimates favorably for the Fusion. Fraggy's going to struggle to get away, but he has the Orb of Harmony, so Birdring's being forced to relent. Using his recall is actually going to give him a chance to survive. Carpe sees Birdring not looking at him and decides that's the time to go in for the assassination, but the point was taken in the process. The Fusion have to go back immediately right now, and you can see Poker's taking a lot of damage just to be there. Carpe takes himself down with his own Pulse Bomb. He at least took Gesture with him, though. That means Shadowburn's the only DPS remaining right now and must do a lot of work here. It's just the D.Va stalling. It's just Fury, but now Bedoshin and Nuts have rejoined the point, and now they're going to try and hold it. Birdring having come back and taken down Fraggy is a bad sign for the Fusion.
Yeah, Shadowburn couldn't dive in with his blade because the self-destructing mech was there from Fury. It'll be Boombox using the Transcendence. He's got Carpe and Neptuno there with him. He's going to get pushed all the way back, though.
They're going to chase him down. Carpe being removed. Neptuno out of the picture, and that's it. Map 2 goes to the London Spitfire. We're halfway done in this series already. It's not even been much game time, I'll be honest with you, Matt. And I feel like if the Fusion can get situations where Boombox can use an ult when they're on the point, that would mean so much more to them there. It's always getting forced out of it. What a tough game to play for the Fusion.
Yeah, I feel like Gesture has been a beast here in the first 2 maps, especially there in Nepal. Every time you saw him use that Primal Rage, got a ton of value out of it, forcing those support outs out early from the Philadelphia Fusion.
Well, we're going to head now to our halftime break to break down what we've seen so far. Quite the match, albeit a quick one.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by Toyota. Let's go places.
was challenged by Justin Rojas of Team Envy, the co-owners of the Dallas Fuel, to take the Lemons for Leukemia challenge. Now, for those of you who don't know, this is really for a good cause. It's a social media campaign to raise awareness for bone marrow donations. And what you do is you take a bite of a raw lemon. So, Justin Rojas, Dallas Fuel, Team Envy, I accept your challenge. I'm gonna do this right now. You guys ready? Can y'all smell the lemon? Smells good. Smells good. All right. Here goes nothing. Yeah. All right. Okay. Well, there'll be more information about this on my social media. But in the meantime, I challenge the desk.
Come on, man. Don't do it. Do you have a lemon?
I do have a lemon. I happen to have a lemon right here.
You have a lemon.
It's not a peeled lemon. Where did Malik get these peeled lemons from?
Sideshow,
Despite the
that lemon's not big enough.
Where did... Is that even a lemon?
I think so. I'm taking yours. Oh, that's terrible. Don't bite it with the peel on it.
That's some good lemon. That's some good lemon. Mm-mm. I like me some lemon.
All right, that's good to hear. I don't feel like we should be doing this alone. Zoe, we challenge you to eat a lemon. It's for leukemia. Awareness? A little bit later? All right, not right now. Fine. Zoe doesn't have her lemon. We got to track down a lemon for Zoe. For now, let's talk about these. This is so hard to talk. Johnny, take it away. You didn't bite a lemon, but you got a illustration for us. What are we watching?
I got the insights powered by Intel. I predicted Lono Spitfire to win, and they're up 2-0.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm going to explain why.
Eat it up.
Okay, I got a question for you, Puckett. What do you do to survive a dive?
Survive a dive?
Yes.
Run from Fraggy.
Yes, pretty much. That is going to be it. We see Lono Spitfire on the point. This is the objective. So Philadelphia Fusion, they want to get on top of this objective and start capping. We know that Philadelphia Fusion is an aggressive dive team, so they're going to go straight onto the point. But what I want you to keep an eye out for is Birdring on the Soldier 76, one of the most mobile heroes in the game. And he is going to make this huge rotation around the bottom part of your screen and actually go up on the high ground. And Prophet is going to make a huge rotation around the other side. So as we play this out, okay, Philadelphia Fusion, Genji, Tracer, Winston, they're going to leap in. But look at your bottom hand side of the screen. Birdring on the rotation, and he's going to take damage right now because he's shooting a rocket on himself to get up on the high ground.
The rocket jump.
The rocket jump. It's one of the most famous FPS things in the world, of course. And so, okay, Philadelphia Fusion, they dive onto the point, and that's just Philadelphia Fusion things, of course. But then, after this, Philadelphia Fusion has rotated away onto the supports. So Philadelphia Fusion haven't really killed anyone. They got Nuss, but that's not enough to win the fight. So Birdring is now on top of the roof, and so Philadelphia Fusion are like, okay, we have to do something to win this fight. And right around here, you're going to see on the Philadelphia Fusion squad, all the white arrows are pointing towards Birdring. And he realizes that everyone is looking at him. So before they even jump, Birdring is going to start running around again. And he's just going to juke all around the map to make sure he doesn't die. And with this, he creates so much time and so much space for the rest of his team that he's going to survive. I mean, look at Philadelphia Fusion. They're all lost in the bottom part of your screen right here. And they're doing absolutely nothing. So just brilliant tactical play coming out of Lono Spitfire. But Dosing gets both the supports on the side of Philadelphia Fusion. Just amazing play overall from the Lono Spitfire to avoid dying to the Philadelphia Fusion dive.
And then, of course, he's putting in some damage a little bit later on. Birdring doesn't need that tact visor, though. This man was playing phenomenally throughout our first two games. Ridiculous stuff, and that Soldier's such a big issue to deal with. That sprint mechanic gets him out of danger. If you're Philly, how do you deal with this in the future, knowing that he's going to bait you and then run away?
Well, you have to realize that perhaps you can't kill Birdring in some situations, and so you have to prioritize someone else. But in this scenario, all Philadelphia Fusion does is dive the backline and then onto the Soldier, and that's all they do. You have to say, like, okay, Birdring, he's just running away. Maybe we should peel for our backline, focus the Winston or the Diva, maybe even Prophet. But in some cases, you have to play against your usual game plan and change things up. So I need Philadelphia Fusion to actually change their game plan for the next 2 maps.
I'm going to need a favor from the audience right now. Can we give it up for Reinforce for that breakdown? And can we give it up for Sideshow? I spit out my peel. His mouth is clean. You ate that whole lemon bite.
Pith is good for you.
The pit.
Say that with your mouth.
Oh, that's disgusting. All right, now before the match, we highlighted 2 players coming in. It was the Tracer battle of Carpe versus Prophet. Sideshow, walk us through the numbers. How are they comparing early on in this series?
Okay, did you see this stat card before the game? It looked fairly even if you looked over at the historical stuff. Carpe is floundering in this match so far, partly because of what Johnny said. All of his dive targets are just running away from him or spreading out, and so he's really not been able to pick up anything. Look at that final blow difference between the 2 guys. Yes, Prophet played a bit of Genji on Nepal as well, but it hasn't altered the stats that much. Carpe has only killed 5 people throughout in the first half of this match. Prophet's on 15. He was absolutely wrecking them so far. And Shadowburn is just about being able to keep up. Carpe is miles behind. This is a huge underperformance for Carpe.
I think the scariest part here on that graphic is 52% elimination participation for Carpe.
Yeah.
If he's having an off game and he's participating in 52% of the elims, that means this whole team is struggling.
Yes, that means that nobody else can really get the kills. They're only getting kills when Carpe is providing some kind of damage, but they're still not getting that very often. So you're right, he is the linchpin of the team, and at the moment, they're not being able to find those picks.
While we see, of course, a struggle for Carpe, there's got to be someone succeeding on the other side. It's not just Prophet. Birdring has been alongside him the entire way. We were missing Birdring in their matchup earlier this week. Today, he puts on a show alongside the Tracer. What did we see from these 2 guys in the first game? How do you stop them moving forward, Johnny?
Well, apart from Birdring just running around, he has some good visors and he got a lot of frags. Now, I think that Birdring's stats aren't as impressive simply because of the fact that he was running around so much. But then we saw the Genji, of course, coming out on Nepal, and London Spitfire, they just proved once again that they're flexible and they can do more than just running around.
Yes, and for Philadelphia Fusion, they've got another one of these uphill battles to go for, and Prophet and Birdring at the moment are wrecking them. So what do? You need to be able to unlock Carpe and Shadowburn in the second half, the same way they did against the Houston Outlaws, but London Spitfire are so prepared for them. This is why they brought this roster in with Birdring. This is why they allowed Hurek to play against Florida Mayhem, because they knew that they're bringing out their A roster for the Philadelphia Fusion. At the moment, it's scary. I don't really know how Philadelphia Fusion are going to stop this
Have
one.
I converted you to a believer in the London Spitfire?
Listen, you're hardly a believer. It's not like you knew what they were going to run. You just had some kind of faith that they had a plan. That's the most vague faith you could have.
I predicted the London Spitfire, and I'm going to be right.
Johnny,
are you going to be right?
You sound like Bren. I predicted it, and therefore I was correct for all the wrong reasons.
I got it right from the start.
It's been an interesting matchup so far, not as close as we expected, but if you're a Philadelphia Fusion fan, you know this feeling. You were in this same position in the match against Houston. They were down 0-2. They brought it back. We'll see if they can do it in the second half. Map 3 is Hollywood. This is where we saw the Sombra. You want me to eat more lemons, or you want your turn?
No, pass me.
There you go, buddy. Do they have lemons in Sweden? What's that taste like? You like that?
Yeah, that's pretty good.
It's pretty good. All right, I think that's going to do it for our death segment for now. Johnny's going to enjoy the lemon, enjoy the commercial break. When we come back, we got at least 2, maybe 3 more games to go in our first match of the day.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by T-Mobile, America's best unlimited network. Omened by HP, the official PC and display of the Overwatch League. And by Intel, the official computer processor of the Overwatch League.
3, 2, 1, and live. Welcome to the party.
Oh my goodness! So many stars on this lineup. And this is where we see the high quality Overwatch, everybody.
Fun and games, it's time to get the job done.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, if you're experiencing a little bit of deja vu, it's not just you. Once again, the Philadelphia Fusion is staring straight down the barrel of a 0-3 scoreline. Last time they managed to bring it back in a reverse sweep against the Outlaws, but now their opponents are looking even nastier.
Yeah, we'll go into Hollywood for map number 3. You see the scores for the first 2 maps. They went by rather quickly. I know some interesting stats, though, from that first game. Now, we were looking at where Neptuno on Lucio finishes with more damage than Boombox on the Zen. Usually, typically something we don't happen on the other side. Now, Bedosian has about double the damage of Nuss.
Which
so
is kind of like
Zenyatta doing work.
Yeah, and there's 2 reasons for this. First of all, Neptuno does far more damage than other Lucio players in general.
Aggressive.
You know, so not something to look too much into. Also, Boombox did die. Like, he struggled to, you know, have as much of an impact as he would have liked. Bedosian did, like, we saw that moment on Hanamura where he just killed both supports on his own.
Remember, every time Gesture used Primal Rage, pretty much, he would jump right on top to Boombox, and they would force out that Transcendence. I feel like they never really got, like, a great use of that Transcendence, Philadelphia, throughout all of Nepal.
There's definitely a sense that London are trying to punish Fraggy and Boombox specifically in this matchup. Normally the latter before the former, so you deal with Boombox and then Fraggy goes next, but it really depends. So London have got to figure it out. Hollywood is going to be our next map though, so now we move away from our, non-dynamic, I guess, game types. We're moving now over towards payload. It's a good way of putting it, right? So the payloads are moving objectives, dynamic. The previous ones were static game types, you could look at it that way. So Hollywood is going to be on the attacking side. It will be the Philadelphia Fusion, but what we want to have a look at here is the London Spitfire's defense setup, because the Trash Mouse is back in the mix.
Yeah, Bertring will play Junkrat here. Very good to spam through the choke, obviously, and then Nuss will play Ana. So Ana, you'll get some play here at the beginning of Hollywood. She can sit up by that high ground. You get a lot of value, right? Like if they try and dive into the cafe, you can get a really good biotic grenade. Denies all that healing from range that you would get.
I mean, this is pretty rough to dive onto, don't you feel?
Yeah, it's a really punishing composition if you're going to dive, right? I mean, the discords are there from Bedosian. You have the biotic grenade from Nuss, and then Birdring, obviously, with all that front-loaded damage you can put down. You know, something that we haven't seen from Philadelphia. It looks like they're going to run with a dive here, which is kind of pretty standard, except Boombox does not play Zen. He'll play Moira. They could have ran a little bit of a tank-heavy comp. We've seen Shadowburn in the past play a very good Zarya.
This is hilarious. Philadelphia undefeated in stage 2 on maps that occurred in the second half of their matches, which means after they go 0-2, they win them all. Well, let's see if that's the case once again. Looks like Nuss here is suffering a little bit of scrutiny. Both tanks have managed to dive on him, and that will be just the 1 kill. But in the meantime, Gesture and Birdring have wrecked both of the DPSs on the Philadelphia Fusion. We were on board with the tanks there, Matt. We saw them dive, and it kind of worked, but the rest of the Fusion got crunched.
So the Fusion jumped right on top of Nuss. As soon as they saw that he was playing Ana, jumped all the way into the back. Fraggy and Shadowburn went for that kill. Carpe actually went in towards, you know, the cafe, and I don't know if he expected Birdring to be playing Junkrat there. Just gets like insta-chunked down.
Pretty ballsy play, isn't it? Going on your own to the cafe?
Yeah, but I mean, he probably expects, you know, a 76 up there.
Not a Junkrat.
Not a Junkrat, right? So he just gets bursted down instantly. And then Nuss actually hit the sleep dart onto Fraggy, puts him to sleep for a few seconds. They're able to pick the kill up on the Shadowburn, then instantly take out Fraggy right after.
That's your breakdown of the previous fight, and that's good because the next one's about to begin. This time it's a little bit slower from the Fusion. They haven't dived directly on towards the cafe. They're sitting back and they're trying to trade a little bit of damage right now, and Gesture's happy with this. He wants to push forward, look for an opportunity, but he gets caught up on the car. However, Shadowburn playing in close quarters against the Junkrat is never going to be the advisable approach. He's taken down there by a concussive mine, and now we're chasing supports. Fraggy steps in, defends Neptuno, gets the frag, and now they're going to wrap around that right side. Birdring has that Riptide, though he doesn't quite connect with Carpe with that concussive mine, but this fight's far from done as Gesture falls to Neptuno.
Oh, and I thought they were going to use this nano boost onto Gesture to try and keep him alive. It'll be a nano boosted Zenyatta now getting on the Bedosian take out Carpe.
I mean, those headshots look much nastier, of course, if you have a bit of nano boost.
Yeah. I mean, he does have the Transcendence, so you do keep him alive on through that, but it's a risky play. It ends up, may not have even been the intended play, but
let's be honest. wasn't the intended play.
Well, what I liked there from Philadelphia is they were able to split London up where both supports were up on the high ground, and Fraggy and Shadowburn jumped up to the high ground, forced them into that little stairway, but there was no follow-up from that backside, right? Where you need like Carpe or Poco to be on the bottom half of the stairway to trap them in and really dive up.
Maybe that was legitimate. They wanted a damage boost for the damage reduction on Bidoshin and keep him alive.
To keep him alive to get that incentive.
Benefit of the doubt. Who knows what these guys are thinking half the time. Gesture lands on Boombox. It's an Omnic pancake being served up to the Philadelphia Fusion. And now they're trying to deal with the mess in their backline. I think Gesture's gone a little bit too far there, but with Fraggy having been taken down by Birdring, losing Gesture means very little for the Spitfire. They really don't mind.
Yeah, you trade that out. He was trying to get Neptuno to potentially use the sound barrier or eliminate him, take him out of the game. So now this will be in Philadelphia with like a 2 or 3 second window where Gesture won't be in this fight. Doesn't look like they're going to jump right in quite yet. As London's backed out a little bit, they're going to have Fury get on the point, try and contest.
Oh, that one was Eden Carpe. They're just feeding that one to the Korean Future Dyson. Not ideal, but the sound barrier here means Carpe can play a little bit more aggressively up until now. Now he needs to behave himself. But Gesture was already so low, it's an easy follow-up, and it's Fury v Carpe up on the point. Dragonblade in the backline here. Bidoshin getting his orb set back to him. He'll fall. Nuss is low. One more slash that'll do it. Birdring now trying to stay alive. A couple of shurikens will secure the kill. A tense standoff between Shadowburn and Birdring, but the latter still has to retreat anyway. But in the meantime, Prophet and Fury wrecking the Fusion on the point.
Yeah, Prophet and Fury were able to kill Neptuno in Boombox, so the support's just getting back here for the Philadelphia Fusion. They're able to hold on for just a little bit.
Unbelievable.
Fury has been unreal in this series. Right now, 12-0, 3 final blows when he didn't die the first
He's died twice so far in the series.
Twice over 3 maps. It'll be an nano boost on a Gesture, and he dies indeed.
Now it's time to go. Riptire even being committed to this fight just to make sure the Fusion don't have a chance to get in. Boombox, oh, good timing though, go for the Transcendence, but Poco was still taken down by the Riptire in the process. Now they're going to make some use of that healing, but they're missing one of their key tank players. Neptuno getting dropped on, tries to boot Gesture away. He's happy just to let bygones be bygones, but the Fusion here are actually getting work done. Fraggy and Shadowburn getting involved. Boombox Neptuno down, no more healing left for the Fusion, and Shadowburn wishes he could have some of that right now. Spamming the voice wheel, I need healing, and Gesture doesn't give a damn, takes him down, and Fraggy's being taken down off screen as well. It's going to make life very, very hard. Poco can only sit in the corner and try and stall out, but that's it. Another full hold. Wow. And the Fusion are looking out of their depth.
Towards the end there is another great Primal Rage from Gesture, so he actually sees both supports for the Philly Fusion, and he knocks Boombox all the way back to the point, and then Prophet comes from the high ground. That gives him a 1v1 against Neptuno. He's able to just take him out instantly. Gesture deals with Boombox once he gets him isolated, doesn't have that Lucio to boop Gesture away, can just bash him into the corner. There's such great synergy between Gesture, Prophet, and Fury.
It was crazy, right? Shadowburn had actually zoned out Bidoshin, Nuss, and Birdring from the point. With that Dragonblade that he used, he gets the kills on 2 of those players. Birdring actually has to back away. Fusion had the numbers on the point as well, so there's 2 fights happening simultaneously at that point. And we're on with Shadowburn. We come back to the point, and all of a sudden, what would have been maybe 2, 3 players, it's almost like they won a 3v5 or something similar. That is just insane. Maybe we'll get a replay of that later on. It'll be interesting to see what happened there, because the Fusion should have taken the point there and then, with Shadowburn taking responsibility for 3 individuals and killing 2 of them.
Yeah, we highlighted the supports in the previous map on Nepal. Just damage done with the Zenyatas, like how do things equal out, whatnot. So Bidoshin there, obviously Nuss is playing Ana. He only does 964 damage. Bidoshin goes for 2,400. On the opposite side, Neptuno actually leads yet again over Boombox in terms of support damage, 1,800 to 1,300. So Neptuno, obviously, like we mentioned, a little bit more of aggressive Lucio player, right? No Boombox playing some Moira.
I mean, Neptuno has more final blows on Hollywood than Carpe.
Yep. He was very close to
more kills than his Tracer so far in this map. But that should tell you a lot. Well, actually, it doesn't tell you much.
London has done a very good job of, isolating the supports, figuring out where Carpe is, and also doing a good job dealing with Fraggy.
Carpe's definitely been nullified. He's having a lot of problems here getting, and this is it. It was said on the desk, the Fusion play their way. They just play their way. They don't play the opposition. But what if you're not allowed to play your brand of Overwatch? This is what happens. Spitfire now on the attack, Matt. All they've got to do is capture them, get the first tick. It's hardly going to be too much of an issue for them now, and this series would have flown past.
They try and force Fraggy down from the high ground, which they do, and they actually have Prophet through the staircase trying to take him out. It'll be Bidoshin who takes out Carpe at the beginning. So you have that Tracer playing aggressive, trying to find some picks. Falls early. They're
Fraggy's
gonna
down.
drop Fraggy as
Shadowman's
well.
not far behind, Matt. There's not much he can do. He's going to be corralled into the corner and removed from the fight. And now it's just 3 players for the Philadelphia Fusion. Present Poco is having his mech taken away. And then the rest, not much to be done. Pulse Bomb dropped. He walks into it anyway. He knows it's all but over. And the Spitfire. Oh, dear.
Okay.
Nautical miles ahead of their opponents right now. The
Yeah,
Fusion
I mean-
can't even collide hydrogen isotopes at this stage. Not ideal.
Yeah, London is just... This is a statement performance, right? Philly has come in. They've been a great team thus far. London just putting in the work today, just dominating this matchup. They'll win it 3-0. Can they secure a 4-0 in our next map, though?
Again, we've seen him be nullified. We see Carpe not having the impact he wanted to have. Shadowburn doing what it can, but being shut down on the supports for the Fusion, not getting anywhere. It's been rough for the Fusion. They got one more map to try and save some face to bring one back. We'll see what happens after the break.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by Omen by HP, the official PC and display of the Overwatch League. Intel, the official computer processor of the Overwatch League. And by T-Mobile, America's best unlimited network.
This is Joe Meister from the Philly Fusion. Welcome to the Fusion House. When I first arrived here, I was pretty excited. We're a pretty international team. We have about 10 different nationalities living in the house. It's a lot of different languages, lots of different cultures. So this is the bigger of the 2 PC rooms. Just an average day in the Fusion House. We're just hanging out, playing some games. Here we have the weight room. We've got our famous Philly figures on the wall here. And we have Poco and Fraggy in a pretty intense game of ping pong.
I think we mostly connect through Overwatch. It's like the unified language, I guess. I think living with all teammates, I feel like it's an advantage. You get a lot more synergy faster. And we have our Koreans here. Say hello.
Hello.
Got Dayfly, got Hotpa, Sado. They're eating some noodles. We got special desk here. The desks are electronic, so you can adjust them.
3 weeks ago, I brought up the water slide idea to Tucker, and he seemed on with it.
From Treehouse?
Yeah. Like, have you guys gone up there yet?
Why would we go up there?
Okay, that's my point, though.
I feel the hardest bit of the season's over for us for start, because we have to build our team synergy and like in-game. So it's a lot of like stress and like extra work. But now we have time to experience something almost surreal. It's pretty nice.
And there you have it, the Philadelphia Fusion Mansion, I'll call it. We spent some time there recently, Matt, for the Super Bowl. A lot of fun. Shout out to those guys for having us. And of course, they've got the tools that they need to be a great team now, at least with that setup they've got at home. They even got a chef recently, but esports, man, that's happening. However, they won't be winning this series. It's already 3-0 in favor of the Spitfire, who have been, honestly, just wrecking. London gave them a lot of trouble in stage 1 as well, but still not really much of an excuse, right? I mean, they haven't gotten a point today.
We're looking
at
the
take
team.
Point A on Hanamura. They didn't get a point on Nepal. They didn't even take the point on Hollywood. So it's not been pretty today for Philadelphia.
That's right. Honestly, the Philadelphia Fusion have had wins against Houston and New York. There's no real reason that they shouldn't be able to at least give us a closer match here. But
Maybe it's just a bad matchup for them, just in terms of play style, right? Because London likes to be aggressive and likes to dive as well. And it seems like London is just able to keep their supports, and Fury alive and Gesture alive a little bit longer. That if you're going to get in that head-to-head matchup, right, and just play them at their game, and they're just playing their game a little bit better, it's going to be very difficult.
Do you know what's going to happen when the Philadelphia Fusion get back to that nice mansion, Matt?
What?
Rawhide. It's been a rough day in the office for them, no doubt about it. However, we've seen some interesting play on this map before, I feel, and we know Shadowburn actually played the Sombra on defense the last time we actually saw them. It was really good, very, very, very solid. The Houston Outlaws didn't have a response to it. They were floundering around. Raucus constantly getting EMP'd and getting shut down immediately after that one. So the tools are there for the Fusion to give us here a decent last hurrah in this series.
And we've seen Shadowburn play Widowmaker as well. I know in stage 2, it's something we didn't see really at all during stage 1, primarily just playing Genji and Pharah, but looks like potentially could rock Widowmaker here at the beginning. You see Neptuno on Mercy, so Mercy and Widowmaker have really good synergy between the two. Obviously damage boost, and then just provides Mercy with a pretty easy target to get away to. As yep, that's happening.
That's our boy Bidoshin.
Look, you're up 3-0 and you're crushing this hard. You can do whatever you want.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, in other scenes, I mean, you know how polite Overwatch is compared to other scenes?
Look,
you should
I came from Call of Duty. I know how polite Overwatch is.
Bro, they set up boxing rings at Gears of War events. Come on. Everyone have a bit of a laugh, right? We just relax. It's all fun and games.
We've seen a lot more tactical crouching.
That's right. To be fair, that was the Fusion last time. So, fair is fair. You give and you get in this game and in this world.
I love it.
Enough life advice for you, though. Let's see what Shadowburn now can do on the setup. So, on that Widowmaker here, definitely wants to be careful of Bidoshin getting up behind him.
Well, there's going to be a ton of pressure on him, right? I mean, you're going to have Birdring playing Genji, obviously Prophet, what he can do on Tracer. You also have Gesture coming at you, but then Bidoshin obviously adds another level to it. They're going to jump right on top of Shadowburn. He's going to be able to get away. They'll bait some members in, but they lose Boombox early.
Not a great start. Again, it's been a common theme in this series. The Boombox has been isolated very well by the Spitfire. This is no exception. Brought back to life, as you mentioned, there's a Widowmaker, so often accompanied by a Mercy, especially for attacking teams. Shadowburn has not really found his big opener yet, though. Staying on the low ground. Holding onto that grappling hook in case that happens. So that's kind of the problem now as well. You don't want to use your grappling hook too frivolously because Winston can actually take it down. But guess who's dead again? Boombox got...
well, the thing is Shadowburn can use the grapple hook to get away. Neptuno can fly to him. Boombox can't do anything, so they get away. The Mercy gets away from the Zen, so then Zen has no healing. He goes over by Shadowburn. It just leaves Boombox there to just get slaughtered.
And these resurrects don't mean a whole lot. I mean, Neptuno, at least able to...
An EMP already.
Yeah, exactly. Bidoshin can really shut this one down. If the Spitfire can clip Neptuno's wings pretty quickly, it's going to be hard for enough healing to be given in this next fight. Neptuno has a Valkyrie here, but it doesn't really matter. It's going to be the EMP drawn out pretty much straight away, and Shadowburn is the first casualty. No Zenyatta here for the Fusion. Boombox is actually on that one, should I say. So he's still in this fight. He didn't get his shields taken away. He finds Gesture now. And Fury has the back away after being desuited. That resurrect there from Neptuno in Valkyrie mode was handy. With Bidoshin falling, this might have fallen through for the Spitfire.
Birdring does have this Genji blade though. They're going to have a sound barrier as well, but looks like they're going to back out here. Will London, they had it looked like it was Fury and Nuss who backed out, but Prophet and Birdring had stayed a little bit. Looks like they backed out to try and get that speed boost over to Gesture to get him back in. Because Gesture has Primal Rage, so they get a speed boost onto Gesture, they bring him back, he'll be able to contest, and then you bring everybody else back as well.
All right, Sound Barrier here for the Spitfire. Let's see what they're going to do with the Birdring. Didn't get any though. He does get that Mega Health Pack. It was also hacked, so it's going to give some ultimate percentage to Bidoshin. Now Fraggy going for the Primal Rage. I don't see him catching Birdring here.
He gets hacked, he can't jump, so he's not able to go over and chase him, so he actually gets hacked by Bidoshin, and then Birdring and Bidoshin just run away. It's a really neat play.
That is so annoying. Fraggy couldn't do anything. He wasted the Primal Rage.
And just to remind you guys, this is previous patch summer, not the current live
yes,
patch,
right?
So
it still takes a while to hack. Still like 0.8?
Yeah, and then you're also still getting ultimate charge off of those Mega Health Packs.
Yeah, which is why Bidoshin has yet another EMP available here. And Infusion haven't taken the first checkpoint yet, but Carpe is hoping to pave the way for just that. Jessie gets a little bit too close. Pulse bombed out. Carpe has discovered Prophet on the building, but doesn't able to connect with him. It's Poco to do with Fury, though, as he gets demeched. Trying to make something happen, but nothing of it.
It's going to be an EMP that goes off. For a second, I thought the follow-up was going to be there for Birdring with the Dragon Blade, but he's not in position. Philadelphia getting very close to taking point A. It looks like London will back up. They will concede point A, so...
I mean, credit there to Boombox. He got EMP'd. And Bidoshin was ready to finish him off there, but he had some peel. Neptuno was able to heal him as well, and he's the one that claimed the kill on the enemy Sombra. So Bidoshin now switches off. For all his, hidden trash talk early in the game, or the spraying, should I say, Sombra hasn't really paid off well.
Be a fight that Philadelphia tries to take up here on the high ground. They do have the advantage in terms of support ultimates, as Birdring still holding on to this Dragon Blade. He's had it for quite a while now.
Oh, Philly is split right now. Poker's trying to help them out and join the fight, but Fraggy went behind enemy lines. Less than ideal. That's how we put it. Birdring might want to follow up here. He can go for a Dragon Blade if he's really confident, but just this aggressive posturing is enough to force Fusion back into the tunnels.
And they get a pulse bomb onto Neptuno. So you lose Neptuno, you're going to have to wait for your mercy, especially when he has Valkyrie to get back into the fight. But these last two fights have bought London enough time where Bidoshin didn't have any ult charge, right? Just switched over to Zenyatta, already up 75%. He'll have that Transcendence for this next fight. So London's done a nice job of just weathering the storm until they've got some ultimates of their own.
Carpe's flanking really wide around the right-hand side right now. So I have to see if he can actually get anything done with this one. Prophet's there. Down to half HP and now to rejoin the fray. So nothing really, bought for that one. He traded a fairly even amount of damage there with Prophet. Now Shadowbird's up on that high ground. It might be the fight here. Yeah, it's going to be a sound barrier coming out for the London Spitfire. Pulse bomb doesn't connect for Carpe. There's a self-destruct, at least on the payload, to buy some space for the Fusion, but they need to make use of it. At least the sound barrier now is no longer a factor for the Spitfire, but now the Transcendence comes into play for the Philadelphia Fusion and for the Spitfire.
It'll be Transcendence from both teams. Now Birdring's going to use his Dragon Blade as soon as it wears off. He cuts through one, trying to hunt down Carpe. It's going to be Fraggy using Primal Rage, trying to force him back, but they get both supports, though.
Nicely played, but in the meantime, it was Gesture, Nuss, and Bidoshin getting huge kills in the backside. Shadowburn removed from the picture there. Had a Dragon Blade, opted not to use it. So, interesting. I mean, it must have came a little bit later in the fight, but maybe didn't fancy using it with that.
He got it towards the end. So, Shadowburn will have that Dragon Blade with no support ultimates for the London Spitfire. Now it's going to be Birdring going over to 76. So, you make this change, you just use the Blade. Now you can control some of the high ground as Soldier. Maybe stop Shadowburn from getting a big blade off. Well, Prophet has gone very deep here.
Birdring knows that the Fusion don't have any burst heal now without the Mercy. Well, burst heal. Mercy's heal is fast, but not burst. And it's hard to come back from. However, Shadowburn still made inroads with this Dragon Blade. So with Bidoshin being down, that's what Birdring wants to do from a distance, is kind of cut them down. But now the Spitfire have to give a bit of ground. They've lost, they're going to lose this fight. They're going to die on the payload and just stall it.
Fury goes all the way on the flank. He gets Boombox very weak. Birdring finishes him off. He'll use that self-destruct to get back in his mech, but he also demechs Poco in the fight.
Huge.
So now you're going to get a speed boost here. from the London Spitfire as they have the payload in a very good spot. But Ocean finds Carpe again at the beginning.
Poco is taken down there. Nuss actually found him. He didn't have his mech and was trying to get it back with a bunny blaster, but it wasn't enough. 4 seconds left, and it has to be an individual diving on towards the point here, and he can see Fury. He's checking Fraggy. He finds him. No chance for the Fusion to stall out. Hide and seek. Winner, London. And Fury knew he had an inkling that Fraggy was going to try and drop in over the top. But that's rough. The timing really hurt the Fusion there. Poco getting desuited and then taken down. He thought he had no other choice but to try and get his mech back with a bunny blaster.
It's Fury and Birdring as Philadelphia's trying to move the payload. The self-destruct from Fury just to get a mech back ends up demeching Poco.
Yes.
And then right before that...
He was just stalling with the mech.
And right before that, he's able to take out Boombox. So you lose both of those players. You know, Poco never gets back in his mech. He drops right before it. And then, you know, to add insult to injury, right? But Ocean comes right out of the spawn, takes Carpe out. So you're down 3 players, 3 huge players. Your Diva, Tracer, and Zen.
So where's your mobility then? The only player that can actually get onto the payload would be Shadowburn, but he's too far away. Fraggy was close, so London, you know, it's just elementary, my dear Watson. They look for the Winston.
They had Fury body block up top on the Fraggy, and then they had Gesture right in front of Shadowburn when the dash came through, just trying to, you know, make his life difficult. Even if Shadowburn would have gotten there, he would have been killed very quickly.
Would have gone for long. At least a chance to keep the game going. So this is kind of unusual that we see a box of victory on this part of the map, that the attackers only push the payload this far. Generally speaking, this second stage is an opportunity for attacking teams to capitalize on momentum they developed after getting that first checkpoint. Ordinarily, if you get the first checkpoint, it's usually assumed that you get the second.
Well, remember the one fight where Philly and London basically used all their support ults, they used Dragon Blades and whatnot. That really took away any ultimate advantage Philadelphia would have had there. So that one fight really at the entrance to that gate really set London up for success.
I do not feel like the Fusion are getting much value out of their support ultimates in this game. It's been a problem since, I'd say, Hanamura. We saw that was very, very difficult. They're getting ultimates forced out constantly. It's been a struggle for them.
Yeah, I mean, in just in that first half from Boombox, you got 300 Transcendence healing. I know, but Doshin had 600, so you did get, you know, double the healing in terms of that.
Oh no!
Transcendence as they're going to push right on through. They know Shadowburn is now playing Sombra. They do get a D-mech on Poco. That's
chase
not
that.
good.
Poco bit off more than he can chew. He tried to face down Fury and Gesture at the same time. Now, Poco was using the defense matrix as Fury was shooting with the rockets, but Gesture was behind him, chucking him down. And then Fury chased on. They eventually got that mech removed. We'll see if Fury can keep his and maintain that sense of advantage. You can see there's a Sombra in the game, so that health pack was hacked. Fury wanted to go for it. But Ocean is removed by that Sombra. But the Spitfire still have the numbers and the man advantage here. They're pressuring forward now, and they want to go for even more. Gesture in over the top. Fury with only half HP, so you see he's not fully committing. Trying to blow up that Winston bubble as quickly as he can. But not enough lethality in the last couple of seconds for the Spitfire to push ahead, especially with Profit going down there to Boombox.
Yeah, it seemed like the idea for London is not to really worry about where Shadowburn is. They tried to push all the way through, maybe get a support or two, and then if they get EMP, they can just use one of their support ults or just try and sustain on through it. Shadowburn does have the EMP to use.
Slightly awkward position there. He wanted to try and back up, but there's actually a player circling around. So Shadowburn has the EMP. That's all well and good. It's about finding a good opportunity to use it. Note that the Spitfire is split in 2 essentially right now. Nuss and Profit on one side, Gesture and Birdring on the other. Wrapping around, they've spotted Shadowburn now as well. So Shadowburn got to be in danger if he tries to get out of this one. Keeping tabs on the Sombra when she isn't under stealth is very important.
They get Gesture though early, so they don't need to use this EMP. He just tries to dive all the way in towards that back left-hand corner. He gets taken out rather quickly. No follow-up or anyone really kind of going with him from the London Spitfire. So maybe London, they're just banking up some ultimates here, right? They're getting very close to having all 6 on the table.
Oh, they spotted Fraggy in the back line. It was already at half HP. Dangerous stuff, living on the edge. And there it is, EMP coming in. So Bedosian getting picked off immediately by Shadowburn. He followed up on that kill nicely, but Profit goes the 1-for-1. Sombra now no longer in the fight. Carpe down to half HP as he attempted to challenge Birdring out, who has a Dragon Blade. He's just going to wait for the moment now. This is what he was waiting for. Transcendence drawn out. Birdring trying to escape from Fraggy, and so far so good. He's got the protection of the boop of Nuss there as well, just to force the Winston back. The Spitfire know they've got time. They don't have to get too far in this map, and they've got some ultimates built up for that next fight.
Well, they know now that they have Transcendence, Primal Rage, and Dragon Blade for that next fight. So you got them to use their own Transcendence, Primal Rage, and EMP there. So Now, how do they attack with this?
Well, conversely, this is also Philly's chance. Matt, Shadowburn needs to build up an EMP for the next fight.
Yeah.
They don't have a lot else really for that.
Well, that's why I think you're going to see London go very fast. As we see, it's going to be a kill onto Fraggy, and now the Dragon Blade coming
Too late
through.
for the sound barrier. Only 3 players on the Fusion even get it. And Bandrick just cuts through it. Not a care in the world for this guy. Frolicking in the daisies and cutting them down with a Dragon Blade. Poco obviously being removed from that one very, very quickly. Again, with Fraggy falling so quickly. Neptuno didn't have a chance to respond.
It's smart that they capitalized right away, where, Neptuno ends up using that sound barrier. Pretty unfortunate, because Philly probably is going to need that coming up.
And now we're already split. Only 3 players got it.
And you already lost your main tank, right? So now, looked like Fraggy was trying to push up a little bit, play a little bit closer, as Birdring will switch off of Genji, go to McCree. So McCree able to control the high ground here. It's a hit scan hero, also pretty good.
Anti-Sombra.
Yeah, anti-Sombra.
As is often the case. So Prophet now to the high ground. And the Philadelphia Fusion have that EMP built back up, have a self-destruct here, and they're close to at least one of those support ultimates. So basically, Boombox and Nuss for the time being have their ultimates relatively in sync, so it means it's going to be Sound Barrier versus Transcendence in a lot of these fights. That's the Transcendence. Prophet knows his Pulse Bomb can still strike lethal damage despite that healing over time that's present, so he'd still be looking for a target. He's not perturbed with this.
Well, Philadelphia used their EMP at the gate. Gesture used Primal Rage and knocked a few members back. There was no follow-up there from that Primal Rage. They take out...
This is done!
Well.
Prophet pressuring forward. There's the Boombox just trying to hide away. It's just going to be a slap to the back of the head. Prophet reminding him who Daddy is. And Hella Payload is going to keep moving forward. Carpe flashed in midair. Why are you diving on a McCree? It's never going to pay off. Only Poco in the high ground. It'll be a self-destruct to try and clear the payload, but he can break line of sight using the payload itself. Gesture bubbles it there, puts a biodome on top. That's the series. 4-0. Philadelphia have the floor wiped with them. And London just seemed to understand them so well at every turn, Matt. They dictated the flow of the game. And they're the ones that take it home very comfortably.
London seems like they came in today angry. All the talk was about Philadelphia coming into this matchup. London reminds people, why they were our Stage 1 champions. They take out NYXL in that final match. How good they really are. London was so dominant today, so clean in every facet of the game.
Reminding us all, I think, as well, that they are a cut above while already being at the top. Philadelphia have had a very good start to the stage, and they've had some high-profile scalps under their belt after their performance. But London, despite having a bit of a smoother start now, remind us all, they are definitely deserving of that title. Up at the top, of course. What a rough one for the Philadelphia Fusion. You really got to hit the drawing board after that one, Matt.
Yeah, they're going to need to go back, watch this tape, figure out another way to play against the London Spitfire. They go up against them again, because they have not had their number, whether it's Stage 1 or Stage 2. The London Spitfire dominant today against the Philly Fusion with a big 4-0 win.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by Intel, the official computer processor of the Overwatch League. T-Mobile, America's best unlimited network. And by Omen by HP, the official PC and display of the Overwatch League.
Welcome back to the Blizzard Arena. This is Zoe, and I'm now joined by Gesture from the London Spitfire. Yeah, that's right. Please give it up. What a dominant performance. And honestly, everyone at the desk, and I think a lot of people at home thought that this is going to be a really close match. And it was the opposite of that. Why was it such a one-sided affair?
제시 선수 일단 오늘 퓨전 상대로의 승리를 축하드립니다. 오늘 매치가 시작하기 전에는 여러 사람들이 이제 오늘 경기가 굉장히 런던과 퓨전 사이에 막상막하 대결이 될 것이라 생각을 했는데 막상 경기를 진행해 보니 그렇지 않고 좀 굉장히 각계급파한 느낌이 있는데 어째서 경기가 이렇게 각계급파식으로 진행이 된 것 같으신가요?
일단 오늘 퓨전 경기 상대로는 그 에코 선수가 되게 잘하는 것처럼 보여가지고 대회에서 그래서 이제 좀 긴장을 많이 했었는데 그 선수가 안 나온 것도 있고 그리고 그냥 팀 간 상성이 있는데 저희가 좀 퓨전이라는 팀한테 좀 강한 게 아닌가 싶어요.
So first of all, I think the absence of EQO played a role in today's match. Coming into today's games, I thought EQO was a really good player, and I was kind of nervous going into it, but he didn't show up, so I guess that was a part of it. Second of all, I think there is such a thing as like a kind of a rock, scissors, paper amongst the teams, and I guess we are, you know, the rock to their scissors.
All right, the rock to their scissors. And now I have to address a challenge which has been issued to me. Oh, sweet, sweet summer child Pocket. You want me to eat a lemon? Well, here's a fun fact. That is, in fact, my favorite fruit. So, joke's on you. And, you know, since I'm not alone right here, I, of course, will challenge Gesture to do it with me. Fun fact also, this is the first time this man is going to eat a lemon. I know, right? That's right. So, yeah, just go ahead whenever you're ready. The most manly bite of a lemon I've ever seen in my entire life. Well, I will be continuing to enjoying this one. Is he okay?
I think so, yeah.
You think so? I'm not going to actually ask him about it, but you know what? We now need to challenge someone else. Maybe he has someone he particularly would like to challenge.
다음 지목 대상 부탁드립니다. 레몬 챌린지에.
몬테랑 도와요.
I think I heard Monty and Doa.
Monty and Doa.
Monty and Doa, it is on you now. Thank you so much, Gesture, for joining me. That was the bravest bite. Feel free to eat the rest of it. We're now going to head over to the desk to break down the action between the Fusion and the London Spitfire.
Give it up for Gesture for being such a good sport here in the venue. Awesome stuff for a great cause. Thank you so much, Gesture. London gets the 4-0 today over Philly. Not the way we expected to go here on the desk. Let's talk about why it went that direction.
Wait, whoa. I knew it was going to go this way.
Well, you knew
it was going to be a stomp.
Yeah.
That's why behind the scenes you were like, oh, should I go Philly? Should I go London?
That never happened.
It's so close, so close.
In our story meeting, he changed it 4 times in the document. Glad you sided with London in the end. You were correct. Johnny, what were you predicting was going to happen? What came true today?
Well, we saw that London Spitfire, they had so much practice time going into it. They didn't feel Fury, Birdring, and of course Bedosian versus Florida Mayhem. They specifically prepared for the Philadelphia Fusion, and that told me they have something up their sleeve. And so people will say, well, Philadelphia beat Houston beat London Spitfire, so therefore, of course, Philadelphia is going to be the better team. But it's not the same matchup. A defensive team versus a defensive team is not the same as a defensive team versus an aggressive team. So I think that London Spitfire, in the end, their style plays into Philadelphia's style, and it's not the same as if 2 defensive teams like Houston and London would play each other.
They mentioned it's like rock, paper, scissors,
Exactly.
and at the end of the day, it looked like London much better.
A very complex
equipped.
rock, paper, scissors, I think, yeah.
Yes.
But if you give London...
4D chess.
4D chess, is that what a 4D rock, paper, scissors?
I like that.
I think if you give London enough time to prepare for an opponent, like we saw in the playoffs where they were desperately scrimming in between their game before the final, and now where they've split their roster into 2, if they have enough time to practice, I think they are going to beat pretty much everybody. They talked a while back about creating a gap between themselves and the whole of the rest of the pack. And if they have enough time to prepare, it looks like they're able to do it, because coming out here and stomping Philadelphia Fusion, who were unbeaten so far, is an unbelievable performance. They were so tight with everything they did.
It's pretty amazing when you look at the numbers overall. London gets the 4-0 today, not just the win of 4-0. And with that, you have to think, now London is in that steering position. They could run away here with stage 2. You've already played Houston. You beat New York. Today, you beat Philadelphia Fusion. Who else could potentially give this squad a run? Let's take a look at some of the best moments here from the Spitfire throughout this series. And Johnny, talk me through, how do you stop this squad? Who could cause problems?
Well, they have shown some inconsistency issues. So while I predicted them, I was correct. Now I'm going to kill the hype and therefore say that any team could actually beat London Spitfire. The crucial key was that they had so much practice time and they specifically prepared for Philadelphia Fusion. But can they keep it up? Twice every week for the rest of stage 2, we'll have to see. We know they have insane individual skill, but you can't really rely on strategy all the time.
Yes, and can they bring this kind of level to another team that isn't as one-dimensional? Because we were talked at the beginning, you know, and I think Mitch referenced it as well. Philadelphia Fusion, they play their own game. They play their style. They have a very distinct brand of Overwatch. If they come up against Seoul that can throw different looks at them, or a defensive team like Outlaws, obviously that would have to be in the playoffs at this point, then I think they can definitely run into roadblocks. The crucial thing is, if they prepare against a team, they have the brains to be able to execute almost any strategy. They're so good.
Fantastically talented roster, great coaching, and they get the win today. The last question I have for you guys is, who did you choose? You had to pick one player for our player of the match, sponsored by Omen by HP, and this one couldn't be an easy decision.
No, I'm not gonna lie. We tried to pick Bishop because the coaching decisions are so good. But he's not a player, is he? So the player that actually performed way, way above what we were expecting from him was Badoshin. And Badoshin had such a huge impact, always getting crucial kills. This one on the Carpmate as well. It's like he's just deleting their huge impact players off the map again and again.
Why I thought this was actually going to be closer, as I said in the story meeting, was because who would shut down Carpe? And it proved to be Badoshin out of everyone. Usually it's the Tracer killing the Zenyatta, but in this case it's the Zenyatta killing the Tracer and the rest of the Philadelphia Fusion squad. Huge surprise.
I think it was the first time in my time with Overwatch that I've seen a nano-boosted Zenyatta and thought it was a good idea.
Yeah, and he's playing alongside Nuss, who we don't normally think of as the Lucio. Played a lot of Ana, so he's playing in kind of weird compositions. But Badoshin's got such great accuracy and 1v1 skills. Only 12 deaths over the course of a series, and putting out so many eliminations.
Fantastic thing.
Offensive assists higher than defensive assists.
That is our player of the match, sponsored by Omen by HP. It's been a great day so far, and we still have plenty to go. When we return, we got another big battle that I know a lot of you guys here in LA are pumped for. When we come back, it's Houston versus NYXL. Don't go anywhere.